So hey guys, and thanks for joining me for another video. Thanks for joining me on the Random Watch Dude channel. No surprises in this video today, guys. You can see very clearly that I've got a Panerai in a box here. Now this is a new watch alert. This is a new watch alert, guys. I've bought myself a Panerai. I had planned to buy a Panerai at some point in my watch collecting journey. I wasn't entirely sure when, I wasn't entirely sure what, and I wasn't entirely sure even why I was going to buy a Panerai. And there are a few reasons behind that, guys, but here I am, I have got one. So let's roll the intro and get into the unboxing. Okay, so how does this happen, guys? How does a guy that's never owned a Panerai before, never even tried on a Panerai, suddenly end up buying a Panerai? Well, I'll tell you the answer to that. I'll tell you the answer to that is quite by chance and quite on a whim, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And isn't that the way quite frequently with us watch obsessives? You know, we buy watches on a whim. I will qualify that by saying, by the way, that I did do a little bit of homework on Panerai. I always knew that at one stage in my watch collecting journey I'd own a Panerai. I happened to be passing Queen Street in Auckland quite recently. You will have noticed that from a video that I posted last week. I happened to be in a watch buying mood. And hey, yeah, when you're in a watch buying mood, guys, yeah, you just go where the mood takes you, don't you? So I tried on this Panerai, and I'm not going to muck around any longer. I'm just going to open this box and show you what I've got here. Oh, look at this. I've got a lovely embossed. Look at that hallucinogenic manual here. Now this manual, by the way, is really nice. There must be 15-20 pages. It's the instructions and the warranty manual, and of course it's written in various languages. One page of which is written in English. So page 3 is in English. One page. So this page here, guys, is in English. This tells me that I have to be very careful of safety and shocks and water resistance and temperature and magnetism and chemical products. After that, it's all written in various different languages. But at the back here, the most important thing, at the back, I've got my Panerai warranty card. Now, I will say, before I go any further, how long do you think this warranty is for this Panerai? How long do you think I've got? How many years? 8, guys. 8 years is the warranty for a modern Panerai. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I bought my Panerai from these guys here, Partridge Jewellers, www.partridgejewellers.com. So this is the preeminent luxury watch retailer in New Zealand. They have branches across New Zealand. They're certainly a very, very well-regarded stockist of Panerai, of course, but they also stock Omega, Tudor, Tag Heuer, crikey, the whole of the Richemont range of watches, or the Richemont Group range of watches, IWC, Vacheron Constantin, you name it, they've got it. Cartier, oh, it keeps going, doesn't it? There's a brand called Rolex, apparently, they stock them as well. So yeah, great guys. And I bought this watch, as you can see, on the 16th of August. It's got my name on it, so there you go. And I kept the Caseback sticker as well. I like to keep everything when I buy a watch if I can, so I've kept the Caseback sticker as well. And what you get, of course, with a Panerai is you get this lovely kind of real delayed exposure to the actual watch itself, because they put this nice polishing cloth across the front of it. And oh look, I've got a strap. I've got a blue rubber strap, and I'll show you that in a moment. But first I'll show you the watch. And of course I do get a tool with this watch as well. But look at this, guys, look at this. I won't delay the agony any longer. I got myself a Panerai LUMINOR. Now the model for this, the model reference for this is PAM 01085. So it's a Panerai LUMINOR. It's a 44mm diameter watch. It's a big watch. It runs on the P6000 in-house movement. It's a manual wind, 24mm lug width. And as you can see, it's a time only. There is no date wheel on this watch. As you can very clearly see, it's got an absolutely gorgeous blue dial. I love this dial, guys. When I saw this particular model on the internet, on their website, on the Panerai website, I thought, cool, I bet that's a nice watch in the flesh. And it just doesn't disappoint. As soon as I walked in and saw that they had this particular model in at Partridge Jewellers, when I went in there and I saw this particular model, I tried it on immediately, and there was no way, guys, no way that this watch was not going to come home with me. So it's obviously made out of 316L. It has a sapphire glass crystal front, and I'll just take it off this this holder here. Excuse me for a moment. I'll just take it off this holder, and I'll be able to show you the when I can get it off of this really tough leather strap. There we go. So the back of the watch, it has a solid case back. I do like a solid case back, guys. I think you know that by now. It's got a really nice solid case back there. Looks great in natural light, doesn't it? It looks really nice. And this solid case back, by the way, is pressed. It's not a screw-in case back, it's a pressed case back. Although that doesn't change the fact that this watch still has 100 meters of water resistance, which is more than ample. Now, of course, the unique thing about Panerai is really, apart from the look, and I'll talk about the look a little bit later, but one of the unique things about Panerai is this crown mechanism here, and I've always been quite fascinated by it. And for those of you that have never seen it in action, essentially the crown here is just held in place, and you just unhook this, and it releases the crown, which is just held in by a spring. So you've basically, if you can just, let me just see if I can get a bit closer there, you can see that arm which holds the crown down. Once you pull this out, this is just a friction fit, by the way. When you pull that out, you can see the arm releases the crown just pulls out, and that's when you can just nicely manually wind the watch, and it has got some really gorgeous feedback when you manually wind it. You can also hack the watch and obviously change the time, and then when you're finished, you don't have to push it back in. You just push this latch back in like so, and it pushes the crown back down, and you've got your 100 meters of water resistance there. So I really like this. I love the fact that it's manual wind as well. It's running on the P6000 in-house Panerai movement. It's not a particularly amazing movement. It's a 19 joule manual wind movement. It's got a 3-day power reserve though, and I think that's quite exceptional for this watch, for a manual wind. Pretty much entry level. If I don't like to use the word entry level, but I've just used it. You know, for the price point of this watch in the Panerai range, you know, to have a 3-day power reserve at this price point, I think is pretty impressive. Now, there's a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about, and the reason I went for Panerai in particular. And you know, the main reason I went for Panerai is because it's just so different. I mean, this watch is just such a unique looking watch, I think, and I think I may have got to that stage in my watch collecting journey where I was starting to, some of the watch designs were going a little bit stale for me. They were going a little bit, I don't know, boring, I suppose. You know, they're just the common all-garden diver's watch from Tudor, from Omega, from Rolex, from Longines, from Tag Heuer, from everybody. They're all starting to look a bit the same, aren't they? And Panerai for me represents something just different. It just represents something not necessarily unusual, but just unique and different. I don't think there's anything unusual about it, but it certainly is unique, isn't it? I think it's also a fun watch. I think it's a really enjoyable watch to look at. I certainly am enjoying wearing it, and I'll just stick it on the wrist actually. Speaking of which, because I can't do an unboxing video without doing a wrist shot for you, can I? So let me just stick it on my 7.2 inch wrist, and there you go. There you go. So 7.2 inch wrist, guys. So it's a 44mm diameter case. It's got a 24mm lug width, and yeah, it takes up every millimeter of wrist space there. Yeah, it's a big watch, guys. It's a big watch. You will not get this watch under a nice shirt cuff. I've tried it. Trust me, it has to sit over the top, and I've got no problem with that because it's a Panerai. You know, you don't. A Panerai is not for the shrinking violets of this world, is it? A Panerai is meant to be seen. Really nice, big. Look at that chunky boy clasp there. Look at that, how wide it is. it's 3 or 4 millimeters, if not more, either side of the actual strap itself, of just, yeah, elbow room. Get out of my way, this watch says. Get out of my way. And it does it in such a non-aggressive fashion. It does it in a kind of passive-aggressive fashion, I suppose you could say, in a polite fashion. Get out of my way. I'm a big watch. Stay out of my way. I just think that this watch has got so much charm and character. It's incredibly comfortable to wear for what is, I guess what you could say is a considerably large watch. I'll just show you also, just put that down there, I'll just show you also the extra strap that you get with it. I've tried this on once. Once I finish making this video, I'm actually going to put it on this and wear it like this for probably a few days, because I'm going to wear this watch to Saturday sports. And I'll be using it as a sports watch tomorrow. So I'm going to stick it on the rubber. Really, really nice rubber strap. It's very, very comfortable. Really enjoyed wearing this for the couple of hours that I did when I was just trying it out. And as you can see there, it says made in Italy. Now, here's the interesting thing about Panerai is, and as you can see there, let me see how close I can get here. So see the sandwich, see the numerals and the indexes and the hands and the small seconds hand there, they're all loomed. So this has got an amazing nighttime presence, guys. It lights up gorgeous at night. But you can see there that it's kind of a sandwich dial. There's a lot of talk amongst paneristas about sausages and sandwiches, and I love a good sausage sandwich, guys. And this is a sandwich, and what I mean by that is the loom sits under the dial. In other words, the surface of the dial is slightly higher. I can't quite get as close as I'd like to show you. Maybe I can if I come from the side, but the loom, it sits in kind of I guess a cavity in the dial, and that's called a sandwich effect, as opposed to a sausage effect where the loom is raised. I think I might just have caught it there, where the loom is raised above the dial, and that's then called a sausage. So these indexes here are actually recessed like a sandwich, and you can get some which are sausage where they're raised above the dial. But yeah, look at that gorgeous reflection on the dial there. So yeah, as I was saying, guys, I digress. As I was saying, the watch manufacturer Panerai began in Italy. So Giovanni Panerai, you don't get much more of an Italian name than that. Giovanni Panerai opened the first watchmaker's shop back in 1860 in Florence in Italy. And there they stayed, essentially. And essentially, Panerai made watches for the Italian Navy right up until 1993. They only made watches for the Italian Navy, and it was only in 1993 that they started supplying watches to the civil market, to us civvies, us normal people. And from 1996, Panerai started to develop quite a following, because, of course, that's when our old mate Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa, started wearing Panerais on his wrist. He wore it quite famously in a 1996 film called Daylight, apparently. And then that's what's kind of sprung Panerai into the spotlight. And then come 2002, in 2002, they moved their watchmaking facilities from Florence, where they still have a presence, but they moved their watchmaking to Switzerland. So 2002. So from 1860 to 2002, they were making their watches in Italy, and then from 2002 onwards, they started to make from Switzerland. And in 2005, guys, not all that long ago, they made their first in-house movement. And this is an in-house movement in this watch now, the P6000. So yeah, look, I think what we can safely say about Panerai is that in terms of their history, I think they've got a really nice, genuine history. There's nothing really hyped about the Panerai history. They were quietly making watches. They were quietly making tall watches, for well over 100 years, from a little watchmaking shop in in Florence in Italy, Giovanni's original shop in Florence, and it wasn't really until the 90s where they started to become, you know, kind of more of a household or commercialised. And I really like that about Panerai. They've kept, and this is the interesting thing, if you look at some of their watches from the early 1900s, the 1950s, 1960s, when they were making watches, you know, for the Italian Navy, they basically looked almost identical to the watches they make now. And of course, you've got three key models with Panerai. You've got this one, which is the LUMINOR range of models. You've got the Radio Mia, which was the first of the Panerai models, and then you've got the Submersible, which is more of a diver's watch. So guys, yeah, look, I'm over the moon with this watch. I'm absolutely delighted with it. It's something different. It's fun. There's no hype around the brand. There's no hype around these watches. They're just really good fun to wear. It's supremely comfortable. I'll put it back on my wrist again. It's supremely comfortable for a large watch. It's got, I think it's got absolutely bags of character. Bags of character, this watch. It's real fun to wear. The quality is excellent. I will say the quality, I mean, the finishing is pretty much all just a highly polished finish. There's nothing special about the finishing, but it's done really nicely. You can see there that the crown is all brushed, whereas the rest of the case is pretty much highly polished, and the caseback, of course, is brushed as well. And you know, the other thing I like about this is the price point. It's not a crazily expensive Swiss watch. I think it's fairly priced for what it is. Look it up, guys, on the Panerai website. You can go in and change the currency to your local currency to see how much it is. When I bought this, you know, it was 10,500 New Zealand dollars retail. Did a little deal with the Osso, the sales associate, and we knocked £1,000 off, and I'm going away a happy man with this lovely watch on my wrist. Yeah, so to summarise, guys, I'm really happy with this. I'm really very happy with this watch. In terms of its timekeeping, it's not a chronometer watch. It's not. They don't actually, on their website or in any text or narrative that I've read anywhere about Panerai, have they stated any kind of timekeeping promises in terms of accuracy, which under normal circumstances you'd probably get a little bit worried, wouldn't you? But I'm delighted to say that this watch is running at about +3 seconds per day. I've had it running pretty much on the wrist for a week now. It's running at about +3 seconds a day, and I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with that. So all in all, guys, I'm just going to wrap this up by saying I am absolutely over the moon with this watch. I'm delighted. It's such a refreshing change. It's such a refreshing change of a watch to add to my collection. And I really don't think it will be the last Panerai that I buy. I really don't. I think I'm already considering a Radio Mia next. And maybe once I've bought the Radio Mia, guys, I might have to get myself a Submersible. I tell you one watch I really do like the look of. There's a Luna Rossa range of Panerais that have just been released, because of course it's the 37th Louis Vuitton America's Cup at the moment. A sailing event is being held in Barcelona. Just started. The first racing has just started, the preliminary racing, and Panerai are sponsoring one of the they're sponsoring the Italian team, of course, the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team. Panerai are a sponsor, and to celebrate that, they've actually released a range of Luna Rossa watches, and I think they look cracking, absolutely beautiful looking things. So yeah, maybe later on down the track I might grab myself one of those too. So yeah, I've become, if you couldn't tell already, guys, look at that lovely blue dial. I've become a bit of a Panerai fan. And why not? Why not indeed? It's just a change. It's something nice. It's something different. And there you are. There's the end of this really quick and dirty review. I'm sorry there's nothing too technical about this review. I just thought I'd show you some of the lovely angles of this watch and tell you how pleased I am with it. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.